Welcome everyone. You are in the right room. This is Global AI Clinic, July edition, powered by Houston AI Institute. Global AI Clinic has a mission to make AI education accessible, innovative, and ethical and impactful. So we come together every month, we gather AI experts, the best in their field, to answer all the questions that you have concerning AI. In this very edition, we're going to be looking at the theme learning, learn faster and think deeper, using AI to grow without losing your edge. I would want us to just sit with that topic just for a minute and think on it because I feel this is a tension that many of us are navigating right now. AI has made education or getting to know things very fast and very easy and very accessible. But the more we use AI to, get our fast answers, we need to always put in mind that speed is not the same as understanding. And in this edition, our experts are going to be helping us to see how we can use AI to actually get better in learning, how we can use AI in a way that does not replace critical thinking, but actually strengthens it, how we can use AI responsibly and also for ethical research. So you are in for a very, very intellectual ride today. So I would really just admonish us that as much as you can possibly listen actively and as much questions that are coming, there's going to be a Q&A session right at the very end. So you could already be dropping questions in the chat even before that session. So let's keep all our questions. I'm sure there's going to be so many questions, especially around this topic of using AI in a way that actually helps you to learn and not just helps you to, get your quick answers. And without further ado, I would like to open the floor to Dr. Ogbanusi, our founder, for our opening remark. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Shay, and thank you everyone for being here. Thank you, Mr. Russell, for agreeing to be on the panel today. Like Ms. Shay said, today is really going to be awesome. So a little bit about the Houston AI Institute. So we're a Houston, Texas, USA based nonprofit organization. We are founded on four deep beliefs. So these are the four pillars that guide us. One is community and ethics, where we engage with the community to make sure that they understand what these, especially the generative AI that is everywhere now, how it is impacting the communities and making sure that we have the right people making the right decisions concerning people in the room. And that is where responsibility, ethical use, adoption, responsible adoption comes from. So the other pillar is the industry. So working with the industry to make sure that they are not just going out there spending money on, I would say, useless time or time consuming, implementations that don't yield anything for them. Making sure that first of all, that they understand the problem. The issues that we see most often is that because AI is there and there's this big drama, I would say, around, okay, everything that it can do, people now think that it is a fix-all for everything in their industry, but it's not. If you don't understand the problem within your business, within the industry that you're in, then you are actually going to be applying the wrong tools to problems. And sometimes those problems can't even be fixed using AI. And also in the understanding from them what they need from the new workforce that AI is, providing. So with that, we now go to the youth and workforce. So the youth and workforce is the third arm of those four pillars that I mentioned. So for the youth and workforce, the question we get is that, okay, so with generative AI and everything that we hear that is doing, where does that leave me as a youth? What are the tools that I can use? As somebody that's already in the workforce, how do I get a competitive edge? What skills do I need? Yeah, so from the industry, we try to understand what they need. And then to the youth and workforce, we try to train them to make sure that they have the skills that they need to go where they want to go. And then the other pillar is the academia. So Youth and workforce separate. Academia, these are people that are already in the universities, the colleges, as you are trying to select a major or you are already in a major, what does that look like for you as you try to transition into a career eventually? So we bring all those together. Sometimes people go, okay, that is a lot. Yes, it is a lot, but we are fortunate to have people like you here and people within the community that volunteer their time. So I thank you so much, our volunteers, and I thank everybody today. And I am looking forward to having this conversation. And how this is going to work is if you all are involved in the conversation, then it's going to make it even more robust for everybody. So thank you so much. And Shreya, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Juliet, for that robust introduction. Thank you for all you do with the Houston AI Institute. And I hope everyone on the call also, heard the value that the Institute is bringing, one of which is the Global AI Clinic. Great. And with that, I would move forward into introducing our AI experts who would be answering the questions on the theme today. We are opportune to have Ronnie Russell and also Dr. Juliet Igbanisi. By way of introduction, Ronnie is an Army veteran, an innovation leader, and a Meta-certified digital strategist based in Killeen, Texas, where he serves as president and founder of the Innovation Black Chamber of Commerce and co-founder of AI Icon, an artificial intelligence plus innovation conference hosted at the Killeen Civic and Conference Center. He leads ecosystem building work at the intersection of business, veterans, and technology using AI-focused education and hands-on learning experiences to help entrepreneurs and communities harness emerging technologies for new economic opportunities and long-term wealth. Ronnie, we are so lucky to have you here with us. Thanks for lending us your time.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Great. And we've heard from Dr. Gillette in the introduction, but I'll try to do her justice also by way of introduction. Dr. Gillette Igbanisi is a strategic leader with 30 years of industry experience and 15 years in sustainability, innovation, and large global initiatives. As founder of the Houston AI Institute, she connects education, business, and government to help people and organizations prepare. The Institute runs programs like the AI Hackathons, the AI Scholars Program, and Executive Transformation Pathways, helping young people, business leaders, and policymakers build the skills they actually need to succeed. She brings a broad perspective to AI adoption, making sure technology is used responsibly with long-term impacts and clear values in mind. Her career has focused on responsible growth, raising funds, building programs, and connecting global goals to real human needs. At Houston AI Institute, the work just goes on, creating a space where people can learn, experiment, and prepare for a future where technology works for everyone. Dr. Juliet, thanks again for bringing us all together, and thanks for being a panelist on this session. We are so lucky to have you.
Thank you.
Great. And with that, I will be moving straight into the panel session where I'll be posing questions to intellectual experts on the call today. And I'll be starting with Ronnie. Ronnie, still looking at our theme, many people use AI to get answers quickly. How can they use AI to actually learn better instead of just finishing tasks faster?
All right. So, like I was saying, that's a great question because a lot of people have these questions with themselves, but they really don't really answer it from a practical standpoint. When people use AI, it's best to use it as a tool. Just like when you're learning how to change a tire, you're going to ask yourself, what type of tool do I need to change this tire? And do I have the right type of tool that actually meet the size of the lug nut, like a 3/8 socket or 3/4 socket? So now you're asking the AI more so like why and how. instead of do this for me. You ask, how do I do this task a lot faster and to be more proficient at it? Or how do I create a business plan that is going to blah, 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 blah? Or how do I create a marketing plan? I mean, a marketing or a social media post that does not sound salesy, and then you put in your pitch, and it's going to fine tune it. So I think when people learn how to use the AI as a tool and use the AI as a partner, then they're just not asking, they're just not having a Q&A with it. And I think that's the best way, because when you uh, quiz the AI, you're also learning at the same time. So that's those are my thoughts.
Wow. Thanks a lot, Ronnie. I really like how you put it into perspective. So, as he has said, the major thing to help you get AI to actually use that as a tool to learn better is always asking the question why and how, instead of it, you just asking it to do the task. You allow it to walk with you. Great. Thank you so much. And I'll be moving on to the next question for you, Dr. Juliet. You know, everyone use AI right now. Everyone has used AI today. As AI has become part of our daily learning and work, how can we use it responsibly without losing critical thinking or becoming too dependent on it?
That is really that's a very good question, Shay, and one that I hear all the time. And most times when I enter a room, it's always, oh, okay, there she goes, the AI person, right? They are trying to dump everything by using AI. Okay, so back to that question. One of the principles we emphasize at the Houston AI Institute is that AI should enhance human intelligence, not replace it. So, the greatest value AI provides is not that it gives you answers quickly, but it frees us to spend more time thinking, creating, solving problems, and then also helps us with making better decisions. So the danger is when we stop asking why, like Ronnie said, you go in there and just instead of saying, okay, give me the what, show me the how, and then as you're showing me the how, you're also asking for an explanation because if something were to go wrong, you have to be able to explain, what happened. So critical thinking begins the moment we start asking questions such as, okay, whatever information or output or asset that the AI is giving us, is that accurate? That is very, very critical, especially when you're doing research, especially when you're asking questions where the large language model you're using has to go get some answers from sources. You have to make sure that the sources are those sources that are I would say, dependable sources, that have been verified. So the other thing is that the solution that you're getting is it complete? And I've seen this happen several times. Even, I mean, I'm a ChatGPT girl, I always say ChatGPT girl. I mean, I use others as well, but I think I'm always going to be a ChatGPT girl, So sometimes I have to spar with ChatGPT to say, okay, but I don't think this is really complete because I'm looking at it. So you have to make sure that you are verifying whatever that output is, and that also means that you have to be a little bit at least knowledgeable about, whatever questions that you're asking. Then the other is that, okay, what assumption is being made? Remember how we talk about context, okay? So you put in the context. So your AI has really no way to know that the board decided to go a different way yesterday. So if you don't put that context in there for today, just okay, hey, I asked you this yesterday. However, we decided to move in this strategic direction, but the question today is, XYZ. So you have to make sure that whatever the output is fitting within your context. So again, AI should be treated like an exceptionally capable research assistant, especially if you're doing research and if you're trying to figure out answers, but it's never supposed to be your final decision maker. Remember, at the end of the day, you will still be the one that has to explain the output that you're getting and how you arrived at the decision that you made. So the other thing I do is that I encourage everyone to learn with AI, not before learning from AI. So don't learn from AI, learn with it, and then use it to explain difficult concepts. So it can help you break it down in tiny little pieces, that build up to, what you really want it to do. So you can help you by challenging your ideas. I do that a lot. I generate different perspectives. I also do that a lot, especially if I'm trying to make a sales pitch. Then I'm gonna say, okay, treat this as me, the Houston AI Institute president. I am going to make a pitch to so person. Okay, what might be some of the questions that I could get? So that way I am prepared in case, I get certain questions from, maybe potential sponsor or potential partner that we are going to be working with. And then it can also help you think more deeply. So not simply completing the work for you. So at the end of the day, these are just my takeaways. Verify important information before acting on it. If possible, sleep on it. Ask your AI for multiple perspectives instead of just your own or whatever that is spilled out to you. And then, of course, use your AI to learn concepts, not simply, produce assignments. Keep your own reasoning visible by explaining why you reached a conclusion. That is very critical. Why did you make that conclusion? Think of it, okay, before generative AI, would this be something that I could have said? Would it be a decision that I could have taken? And then remember that AI can accelerate thinking, but again, it should never replace your thinking. So that is my take on that question.
Thank you, thank you, thank you very much for that robust answer. I think those are very profound tips that everyone on the call is learning from. I really like how you said learn with AI, not from it. I think that is quite important that we should always keep as our mental notes. And just to reiterate on what you've said for many of us that are listening on the call. So she mentioned accuracy. She mentioned always getting the AI to help you develop multiple perspectives. And she also mentioned something important about keeping your reasoning. That means as you keep prompting AI, providing the necessary context, ensure that your initial reasoning is kept because you'd have to be the one to defend that answer. I think it won't be ChatGPT or Claude in that leadership meeting. Great. Back to you, Russell. I'd like to pose a third question to you, and it's I want to learn a new skill with AI today. There are so many skills that everyone is trying to pick up. What simple routine or approach would you recommend for someone trying to achieve this?
So for me, and I want y'all to write this down. So get your pad and get your pen and write this down because I'm gonna give you a three-step routine that you can begin to develop. Because a lot of things you got to look at. If I'm learning something new, whether I'm going from cooking or coding, you're going to do what? You're going to have to find the recipe in order for you to do it. And one of the things that I like that Dr. Juliet has said was bite size. So number one is micro learning, like learn in small increments that is going to help you for the bigger picture. So you can develop a prompt and say, teach me one thing about Claude and how I can use it to write my next, I don't know, book, whatever it is. Again, micro learning. Number one is micro learning. Teach me one basic concept that I can use Claude to write a better book. Now, that's just me throwing stuff. Like you can figure out the word and the formula after that. Number two, practice, right? Practice it yourself. Because if you're prompting something, then you're going to have to practice that prompt to see if that prompt is actually going to work. Because there is something called reverse prompt. Because if, like the first prompt that you use, teach me one thing to learn how to use Claude to write a better book. If that doesn't come out or render you the response that you're looking for, reverse prompt. So then you can say, what I like to use is words from the previous. From the previous, replace book with whatever you want to do. Replace book with something. So now I'm practicing it because the first thing I did not work well. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to reverse prompt in order for me to get a response that I'm looking for. So again, that's practicing it yourself. Like take like 5 minutes to look and to see if what I put in was actually going to give me the output that I desire. Just like we've always heard, garbage in, garbage out. If you put garbage in something, then the response is going to be garbage. So again, number one is to practice it yourself, which is try to apply what you just learned and look at it, because again, AI is a tool. Look at it and then rewrite it, or just like some of you know, if you're dealing with coding, rewrite it or then rewrite the code, or take that line out and put a line that you desire in order for you to get what you want. And then it's going to draw up a new idea. Just like some of us who actually used AI to create and generate an image. When we first started generating images with AI, you will get the eyeball at the forehead or the 10 fingers or the lips on the side of the face. You've learned like, okay, that's ugly. Some of us said, okay, that's ugly. Then we went on to something else. Oh, this don't work. But you had to go back and to go and reverse prompt and to practice it and to give it new creative words, put new adjectives in there in order for you to get the image that you desire. So that's the practice part. Practice it yourself. Then number three, I'll be writing it down. You can put it into the chat. I put number one. Number one is what? Micro learning. Number two is practice it yourself.
Practice. Yeah.
And then number three, I want you to instantly get a feedback. And something that I learned, was it last week? Yep, last week. So get instant feedback, like show your work. Showing your work means reverse engineer your work. And I want you to take this, write it down because it's going to work for you too. I asked the AI, give me 5 negative reasons on why you would not go on this website, or 5 negative reasons on how this ad will turn somebody off. Because now what you're doing is give me the instant feedback that someone may be thinking when they're looking at my product or looking at my services. So you get that instant feedback. So now you're okay. I'm looking at it from a consumer's perspective and not just my perspective, because sometimes my perspective is just mine. That don't mean that I'm going to make the best cheeseburger. That means I made the cheeseburger on what I felt was the best. But not everybody like American cheese. Not everybody like Swiss cheese. So I'm going to request the feedback and get the instant feedback back instantly. So 3, 1, micro learning. 2, practice it yourself.
Practice.
And 3, get instant feedback. Those 3.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you very much for taking us to school. I'm sure many of us also took that down. So
Yes,
micro learning, practice, and get instant feedback. Simple enough also to keep in our memory.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you again, Ronnie. And with that, I'll be moving to the very last question on the panel session, poised to you, Dr. Juliet. And we're going to be talking about AI ethics, which, I know you're very strong on. What are some ethical practices that educators, professionals, and organizations should follow when using AI to support learning and decision making?
Awesome. Okay, so we know that with generative AI, a lot is being exposed. The regulations are not as strong as they could be. And then the onus is on us as people using the tools to ensure, that we are staying within ethical boundaries. So ethics in AI begins with a very simple question. And I mentioned this before when I tried to answer the first question. So what you need to always have in mind is, if there was no AI, would I still be comfortable defending this decision that I am making or that I have made? So AI does not remove human responsibility. What it's doing is it's actually increasing it. So at the Houston AI Institute, we encourage organizations to focus on 5 ethical principles. These principles, as I'm stating them, if you go on our website, they are the same every single time that I speak, whether I am speaking at a community event or I'm talking to fourth graders somewhere, or I'm talking to parents, same thing, I'm talking to business people. The first is transparency. If you are using AI, it's very important to make sure that you are honest about when and how AI is being used, especially if you're using it to collect data. If you're using it to collect data that involves children, if you're using it to collect data that involves disadvantaged communities, if you're using it to collect data about people with disabilities, you have to make sure that you are disclosing that, especially when it influences learning, hiring, evaluations, or any important decision. Very critical. Then the second part is accountability. Remember, always you are responsible at the end of the day. If you are the CEO of your company, you are not going to come out to say, oh, AI did it. No, that's not going to cut it. You are going to be the one going to court. So a person, not an algorithm, must always remain responsible for the final decision. And I know you guys have heard about the human in the loop. That is simply what that means, that somebody somewhere is going to be held accountable, that somebody somewhere looked at the output before it went out there. Then the other is fairness. So AI systems they have inherent biases, and the reason is that they are pulling data from everywhere. So the data that they are pulling may already be tainted data. So somebody who lives in a certain zip code, for example, may not be able to get a loan just because of where they live or who they are. So those are the things that we have to keep in mind. There has also been on the news recently where there has been some really bad decisions with hiring. Some people weren't hired just because they went to certain schools, because those certain schools had bad reputation in those days. So the large language models pulled out all that information. So if you're a hiring manager and you see data that doesn't look all right to you, believe me, it is not all right. Make sure that you look at it again and then question it and question it and question it. So if your AI models is constantly selecting certain people from certain zip codes because they are somewhat supposed to be the smart people, or certain agenda because they are supposed to be the smart ones, please take another look. Then the fourth is privacy. This especially has again to do with the disadvantaged communities and people who are not able to defend themselves. So protect confidential information and never upload sensitive data into any AI system without understanding where that information might be used. So within your own system, you might know, but especially if you're using a third-party platform somewhere, make sure that the first question that you're asking your vendor is, okay, you have my data now. Where is this data going? Who might have access to it? Then finally, I has to have human oversight. AI should support professional judgment. Again, you should not replace it. The people closest to the decision bring the context. So this has to do with empathy, it has to do with ethics and the experience that AI simply cannot replace. So the takeaways, again, be transparent when AI is contributing to any important work that you're doing. Keep humans accountable for every significant decision that is being made, and then verify AI outputs for accuracy, fairness, and ensure that you are eliminating bias as much as possible. And then, of course, protect confidential and personal information. So I will pack it there for right now.
Thank you so much. That was very educating. I'm sure everyone on the call should take those actionable steps or actionable tips always in front of you whenever you're using AI. Actually, when you mentioned around privacy, that's not something that many persons talk about. So, it was really great to hear you talk about the fact that not every information should be fed to AI. You have to protect people's privacy and, always put that always put that into consideration when using AI. Awesome. And with that, we are done with the panel session, but then we're moving to my most interesting part of um, the Global AI Clinic sessions, which is the Q&A. Why is it my most interesting session? Because this is where I would like to hear from you, our audience. The questions you are having around AI, you can drop them now in the comment section, or if you'd like to, go on mute and voice them out, that's also fine. So let's get the questions coming. While we wait for questions, I have one of myself that I will pose to Ronnie. Since we're talking about learning and how to ensure that AI does not replace critical thinking, but rather enhances it, I would really like to know, because I am also a very heavy AI user, ChatGPT and Cloud are my favorites. How does one know when you're becoming too dependent on AI? Is there a gauge I could keep in mind that would help me to know when I am becoming too reliant so that I can, take a break or something?
I think that's a personal opinion, like you said.
Mhm.
When you feel that I no longer use my normal and natural intellect because it's writing all my emails, it's doing all of that stuff for me, that it no longer sound like me. I can tell an email that was written by a chat GPT where that famous line in the beginning, I hope this email finds you well. We know you don't talk that way. That's using it too much
Yeah.
because you don't care if this email finds me well, because you really want me to understand what you sent the email to me
Hmm.
for. So if all of your emails starting to look like that, you might want to pull back and get into the weeds and allow it to learn your writing style. So then you're still training it, but you also still look at it and adjust it at the same time. So when it no longer sounds like you, when it no longer um, um, make you feel like you're a part of the decision making process, then yeah, you're using AI way too much.
Mhm. Thank you very much, Russell. I really like how you answered that. I'm still waiting to see our questions, or does anyone want to come off here and ask? This is your time. No question is stupid. You can ask all your questions to ask your questions. This is a safe space. Okay. Still gonna give some more minutes for persons to. Okay, Vashti, I see you've come
Oh,
off your mute.
oh, hi everyone. I don't have a question. I just have, this is my first time, so I'm excited to be here. I
Good to have
just
you.
have a comment to back up what Ronnie was saying about using AI too much. One of the things that I like doing is brain dumping or using voice chat to just talk out all of my ideas and what I'm trying to get at and have, well, ChatGPT primarily is like, here is what I'm thinking about. Here is what I'm trying to do. This is what I'm trying to achieve. I need to send this email. I need to create this proposal. This is what I'm trying to do. Here are my thoughts. And so I give it information to work with. And obviously it knows a lot about me because I've done a lot of prompting and customizing. But one of the ways that you can make sure, just to piggyback on what Ronnie was saying, to make sure it sounds like you is, when you read it back, does it sound like something that you would say, or does it sound like a machine wrote it? And so I'm always checking. I think giving it input and saying, "This is what here are my thoughts. This is what I am saying. I want you to just help me refine it, test for like sentence structure or like making sure it's clear or anything like that. That giving it something to work with as opposed to being like, help me write this email to Dr. Juliet about XYZ. Like you haven't given it anything. And so now it's hard for you to come back and not hard, but you have to do a lot more cleaning up if you didn't give it any context or any thoughts to work with. So yeah, that's my contribution.
Thank you so much for that contribution, Vashti. That was very profound.
Thank
Um, Thank you. And good to have you. You're welcome to the Global AI Clinic community. We hope to see you next month too. Cool. Yeah. Then we still don't have questions. I'll just poise one more to Dr. Juliet. Okay, okay, I've seen a question. Great. So I'll just go to the question Eagles is asking. What's the biggest risk of over-relying on AI for learning, and how can we avoid that? Dr. Juliet, I would really like to hear your thoughts here.
Yeah, thank you so much. And thanks, Eagles, for that question. So the biggest risk there is that it's not just that you stop sounding like you actually stop thinking. You ought to stop reasoning. If the first thing you do is you want to write an email, you go to ChatGPT and just put it in, write this email about, to respond to this and that. I know with agentic AI now, they can go clean up our inboxes, help us with, stuff so that the risk is just that you're going to stop thinking. You're gonna stop being. AI is supposed to go do all the mundane tasks or the repetitive tasks that you used to do, but the critical part of you being a person that AI can never be is that you can actually reason, you can actually think, that you have empathy, that your creativity is still there, that you can tell when something is off. Those are the things that AI cannot do for you. So again, it has to be that you are going back and that you are checking and you are taking a moment to step back and think like a person. And remember that yes, your AI models, they work within the context that you have provided. There are contexts that may not be inside the model that you have to be aware of, that you have to be sensitive to. So those are those areas. So if you stop thinking, if your first instinct is to go to ChatGPT, your first instinct is to go to Claude, that is when you do need to step back. So how do you avoid this is your first instinct shouldn't be, okay, Mr. Russell wrote me an email, so I'm just gonna go dump that email to ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT to respond. What ChatGPT might not know is that Mr. Russell and I may have had a conversation that's different from what is in my model, or that there may be other things that may affect, because then you're also spending time having to feed all that into your models. So just step back and ask yourself, what will be the right response to this situation, this email, and even when you use your AI models to help you, that you are putting everything into perspective before you send out that email, before you send out that report, before you ask, that next question. So that is my thought on that.
Thank you so much, Dr. Juliet. That was very enlightening. I really like how you just enunciated the fact that AI can never replace you, right? It can never be you. It can be, as you mentioned, your highly intelligent assistant, but it does not take away the work that you also need to do. And our last question for now that I see is also from Eagles and is asking, what would you recommend as the most effective AI tools or techniques for retaining and applying knowledge long term rather, not just memorizing? Mr. Russell, do you want to take a shot at this question?
Sure, that's easy. So this week, Notebook LM has rebranded itself because Notebook LM was already owned by Google. Notebook LM has
Mhm.
rebranded itself and now it is Gemini Notebook.
Gemini book.
So in the question, you said recommend the most effective AI tool or techniques for retaining and applying knowledge long term, not just for not just memorizing.
Memorizing.
In your notebook, in your Gemini notebook, if you haven't tapped into it yet, I would say try it, because there are three things in the notebook itself. One is the source, two is a chat, meaning this is where you have your conversation and your dialogue. Three is in a studio. In your sources, you can upload what you want that notebook to completely contain, or what sources you want, or the knowledge base of that particular notebook. Inside of the chat is where you create the dialogue based on the sources. But then in the studio, when you're talking about retaining and applying knowledge, there is an asset inside the studio, which is quiz cards. So if you want to learn something, you can create quiz cards based on what you have uploaded inside of that particular notebook, just so you can get smart on it, not just to use it, but also to implement it long term. Say you found a PDF file that is talking about Facebook Ads Manager. You download that PDF file, you go to Gemini Notebook, you first name the notebook, then you upload that PDF file as a source, and then in the chat, you communicate about what you desire to do with this source, and then you go to quiz cards and tell it to create me a 25 question quiz based on the sources. I want the question on one side, the answer on the other side, or an open question on one side, or a mixture of yes and no questions, true and false questions. Like, you tailor it to what you want it to do. So now you're getting smart on it by just applying the information, and now you're retaining it a whole lot longer, and it's for long term.
Thank you so much, Russell. That was a very helpful tool. He said Gemini Notebook. If you've not tried it out, I would also implore you, just like Ronnie did, to give it a trial. Great. And with that, I think we can bring the Q&A session to a close. We do not have more questions. So I would just hand over to Dr. Juliet for a closing remark.
Wow, I learned a thing or two. So thank you, Mr. Russell. Thank you, everybody who joined today. And thank you, Shay, for being, as always, a phenomenal facilitator. And next month is going to be on leadership. You guys know, come rain, come shine, we're here. So one person joined, 300 people joined, 10 people, it does not matter. The show has to continue. So thank you guys for showing up. If you are interested in being a speaker, please reach out to us. We are constantly looking for people who can contribute to this great, robust global AI clinic. So like I said, come rain, come shine. We are going to be here again next month in August, and we're going to be talking leadership using AI tools. So again, thank you guys, and we'll see you again next month.
Thank you so much, Dr. Juliet. Thank you, Ronnie. Thank you for helping us understand how to learn better today. Everyone on the call would agree that this was a very brilliant and enlightening session with so many actionable tips that we can even act on immediately after this session. So thanks everyone for being here. See you in August. Bye for now.